local stories of Michael Miller, bringing people together and sharing the voices, events, and connections that shape our community.
We did this morning that event. Tell everybody about it. What's next? What do we have to do?
Thank you for joining us. Today, you're going to find out some very important things about the Miami-Dade School Board. And our speaker today, our guest today, is Luisa Santos, Miami-Dade County School Board member. Congratulations on being in office and serving. And congratulations on all of those great things that have been happening to you.
Thank you so much. And congratulations to you. Every time I come back, you're like growing, remodeling. It's awesome.
We've been very fortunate. We got a lot of great team members. Let's talk about the school board. I read an article in the paper the other day, 13 in the Miami Herald, some 13,000 less students.
Yes.
What does that mean to the school board, and what does that mean to the school system and to the students and the teachers and to us as parents and grandparents?
Yeah, I think you're starting where we need to start. What does it mean for our community? And when we look at the 13,000 student figure, we've been studying a lot of like, okay, why did that happen? How did it happen? And we were expecting a couple thousand less students. Our number was 5,000 less students, but 13,000 is 8,000 more than we expected. Well, you know, for 2 years, sometimes we were sitting here talking about the new arrivals. So we had an influx of students who were coming from other countries, like I did when I was 8 years old. And 1 year, like for 2 years, we hit 20,000 new arrivals in a year. Well, our average yearly is about 7,000. That's just Miami, right? We always have people coming in and out. And this year it's like 1,000 something. And so what we realized, there's a big hit. And really it makes sense if you think about our national policies right now. We shouldn't expect to see even the average numbers of students coming in from other countries. And that really affects both public, private, charter, everybody. We also saw a slight decrease. This is harder to measure, but we hear it. Our principals hear it. Cost of living in Miami-Dade County is through the roof. And so families, and I know, anecdotally, many who tell me, I'm moving to Georgia, I'm moving, to the Midwest. We're going to figure out if we can, start our lives there. So cost of living, and then a lot less immigrants coming in. And we also have our, some students are choosing private and charter school, although that's a much smaller number than we expected.
So on the private schools, I saw the figure, I think it was less than 650, but around that. Are the charter schools listed separately in those figures, or is that part of that?
So you mean going from public to private or charter to private?
And that was part of the 13,650 went to private schools.
That's a great question.
Right.
I'm not sure, but I know that 600 number is very small compared to, like, it takes up a lot of our conversation.
Yes.
But it's actually so small. Whether it includes only traditional public or charter, it's tiny.
I'm not sure if you're aware. I hear some stories about Killian High School. Not many students are there. How many are there, more or less, the last figure that you heard?
Oh, no. I mean, it used to be thousands and thousands, and I think it's slim.
Go ahead.
It's slim. I don't know, Michael. It's unfortunately not in my district. Right. It's a great school with such an awesome history.
I heard it was less than 700.
Yeah, definitely less than 1,000.
Right. And that school at some point had several thousand.
Oh, absolutely.
So here we have these big schools, big maintenance. And when the students are walking around the hallways there with a third or maybe even 20%, what is it like for them to say, that classroom's closed over there, that wing is closed? What is it like for them spiritually inside when they go, what's wrong with me that I'm here in this school where I'm going and only has, 20% of the rooms filled?
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, in District 9, right, which is what I obviously represent and spend most of my time on, we've got, because so many people are moving from other districts further and further south for affordability,
yes,
it's not as big of an issue. But I agree with you. We are actually looking at how do you right size. It's unfortunate, but it's our reality. We have to at some point realize, if people are moving out, if there's less immigration and the birth rate is down, that's just what happens sometimes. And we wish
do that. We do that with homes. Right?
Exactly.
You get to a certain age where you go, I don't need this, whatever, and I need something different.
And then you move on to something different. So I think we as a district right now, and we have an upcoming workshop where the school board is coming together with the superintendent, whose team has been working really hard on evaluating all of the assets that the school board owns and really thinking about a comprehensive strategy. We've got lots of projects, one-offs going on, but we thought it's time to come together and say, as a whole district, what is the school board going to agree on as far as how we approach right-sizing schools and the district generally, how we look at where there might be opportunities for partnerships, which we've done some, again, one-offs, but we want to come together and agree on a criteria. And I think that'll be very fruitful.
I love the term right size because that's a good feeling and it's a good statement. It's not like we got to make this big change, all right, because of whatever. But the right sizing is really sort of a correct thing. I heard there were about 300 new school teachers this year, and I think the superintendent, I think he said nothing is going to happen to the teachers. So if there are less teachers, I mean, there are more teachers and less students. Are you just catching up to the number of students that are there, or are the teachers going to be doing something different?
No, let me clarify. So as people retire or leave, some of those positions won't be filled. And that's just a reality. You know, you look at it on paper and you say, how can it be so many less students and why aren't there maybe less positions? Well, there are. We're just saying it's not about protecting positions. It's about protecting people, right? And at the end of the day, we are one of the largest employers in this county, and that affects our local economy too. And we have to remember that. And so the main message that is being sent from the school board is that if you work at MTCPS, there's going to be a role, because we have other roles, and maybe you're not going to be teaching the grade level in the subject that you want to be teaching, but we are going to make sure to do everything in our power to ensure that we don't, do things that have been done in other times in the past, like a reduction in force or things like that. We're going to be strategic and surgical so that it's not a sort of blanket right-sizing. But the reality is there's, when you think about it, I don't think most people realize the average, sort of base allocation for a student hovers around $9,000. $9,000 times 13,000 students, millions and millions and millions of dollars. And if you don't have those, and we already cut significantly from our budget last year, almost over $70 million, you do have to make changes in your operations.
So tell us about some of the exciting new programs that are going to be offered to the students in your district, or maybe it's throughout the whole system.
Yeah, we have so many amazing programs. I always tell people, for example, if your child wants to be a vet, we have some of the best programs at Homestead Senior High School. If your child's interested in becoming a doctor, a surgeon, a nurse, Mastat Homestead is literally the retrofitted old Homestead Hospital. And students there, I mean, the careers they're embarking on, they get specialized training there. If you have an artist for a child, and you want to explore visual and performing arts, whether it's Arthur and Polly Mays, Coral Reef Senior High, you've got the highest quality visual and performing arts. We even have programs at the zoo. We have biotech, Richmond Middle. These students go to the zoo and learn there. They even have botany, so they go to Fairchild Gardens and learn there. And we are also launching a lot of programs around AI, robotics, these careers of the future, and aerospace. That's a big one.
Those things make such an impression on the young minds. And sometimes those are the careers that get set out. They say, listen, I've been spending 3 years in this particular, in learning. And I understand that at Sunset High, they have the robotics class out there if you want to be in the medical arena. And I understand you just get, if you're a nurse you're wearing a nurse's outfit, to try to get you into that place. Absolutely. And I know there are a lot of certificate programs that are out there. I know somebody that happens to teach one. It happens to be for air conditioning and plumbing, things like that. How great it is that somebody could go to high school, learn a career, or get the background in order to get the further education, whether it's just a certificate, you want to be an air conditioning guy, or you want to go to MIT, it starts along that way.
Absolutely. And when it comes to accessing those opportunities after graduation, I have to tout the fact that our traditional public schools have 95.2% graduation rate.
No
That is
kidding.
the highest we've ever had. That's amazing. But more importantly to me is what happens after that graduation. And we also recently became the district in the state of Florida with the highest FAFSA completion rate. Many of you probably have not great memories of the FAFSA. It's the application that everyone uses to access aid, all forms of aid, just cash for paying for college or for your continuing education. Even if it's a technical education, it also helps with that. And I worked really hard on this, Michael, because it opens doors of opportunity regardless of your income. And I'm so proud that if you come to Miami-Dade County Public Schools, you are going to get help filling out that FAFSA, and you are part of the county with the highest rate.
And that's wonderful, because we know so often the kids and their parents need guidance, especially they may be the first ones off to college, right? And they need a helping hand. And so, and one of the things we've learned, it's just not the students. You're helping that whole family when you're able to do that. And maybe they're the first ones to graduate from high school or to go on to college if that's what they want to do. So, and speaking of that, what are you doing to help engage the parents so there can be that support system?
Oh my gosh, we're doing so much, especially through our Parent Academy. That has been sort of put on an exponential growth path. And so there are in-person workshops at schools that parents can attend on all sorts of topics. Everything you can imagine under the sun that a parent might want help with, or a guardian, they can access that. And then there's tons of online workshops too. And I always tell families, your school is the best place to get answers. And if you need support, our schools have gone above and beyond in making sure that if a parent says, I need help with X, Y, or Z, we are going to plug you into the resources necessary. So we are very much putting a lot more emphasis than I think ever before on supporting parents, families to support their students, because it really takes all of us to make sure that these students get, the greatest opportunity possible.
So there's a nearby clinic. It was run by Dr. Tina Carroll Scott. She's a pediatrician. 17 years ago, she left her very lucrative practice in Bell Harbor. And she came over here to help the people in South Miami that needed it the most. And I've learned to really enjoy her. She was awarded it's called the Saltwater Fellows from Miami Foundation.
Yes.
So there were 10 people in the community that received this award. It was a $100,000 award, $50,000 a year for 2 years. And so it was $1 million the foundation gave away. And so when I was talking to Dr. Scott, I was talking about her patients. She says, no, Mike, they're families. She refers to them as my families.
Yeah.
And that made such a difference in so many, and literally thousands of people's lives, because she focused on the family unit rather than the individual.
Yeah.
And a shout out to her. One of her families was evicted. She went over and she helped them. And 2 of them were graduating from high school, both, I think, accepted at FIU, and they were floundering, like, where are we going to live? She put them up at a hotel.
Wow.
So I know you have a lot of devoted teachers every day, all right, that are underpaid, overworked, and wondering, what is it going to be like this year? As a matter of fact, Rachel, who's one of our producers in the afternoon, she teaches in Florida City. She teaches 3rd, 4th, 5th grade.
Oh my gosh.
In math,
amazing.
yes. And so she lives in South Palmetto Bay. She drives to Florida City, teaches, and then every day at 2:30 she comes up here, spend 4 hours, and then she drives back. I don't know. It sounds like 75 miles during that day and going back and forth.
Right.
So we've learned a new appreciation for teachers that care a lot.
Our teachers are everything, really. When we think about it, not just our schools, but our communities, everybody has that one teacher that they can remember at least. And our teachers go above and beyond every day. And really, we've got to, as a community, figure out how we keep treating them as the professionals they are, both in pay and in respect.
And I'm thinking, in this hierarchy of the world, how we put teachers and cops and firemen like it this low level, and for years and years and years and years. And it was it's just terrible, because these kids need all the help they can get. And if the teachers are under stress, we see what happens, and we saw it during the pandemic, what happened when so many people getting very stressed out, and a lot of illnesses and diseases sort of popped up. Let's talk about autism and mental health care for our kids. What's the school board doing to figure out who they are and to provide direction for them?
Great timing. We just had a whole conversation on this yesterday.
How about that?
Yeah, I know you're like listening in, are you, Michael? We in 2018 launched our mental health department, and that department has grown tremendously. There are well over 100 mental health coordinators. It's not enough, honestly, that are attending to all of our schools. Every single school has what they call tier 1 interventions or tier 1 supports, which is basically proactively teaching all students, creating awareness of how important mental health is. And then if students, either seek help or adults in the building realize they need support, they can go into tier 2, tier 3 supports. And the district has contracts with agencies so that we can refer to agencies and families can get help there, or they can also work with our staff. When it comes to our students with special abilities, our autistic students, and our district's ESE services, every year there's an increasing trend of students who qualify as ESE students. And our schools are having to really figure out and support them because, in public school, regardless of what the student's needs are, we are required to meet them. And we take such pride in meeting them. And so our ESE department is constantly thinking not just how to serve the students while they're with us, but also how to set them up for real life skills and success. And so yesterday, actually, again, we approved another program for students with disabilities to be able to gain real life skills. And we even have students, I was very proud to bring an item to the board where we have Project Victory. And this is where students who are high functioning can start to actually work within the school district. And so they're working in our school board administration building with different offices to get work experience so that when they unfortunately age out of the system, they're able to be self-sufficient. So
I asked Carlos Magoyan, who's one of our speakers, the CEO of Jackson Memorial Hospital, are there more autistic children than before? He said, Michael, when we were young, he said, we used to call them slow. And when he said that, all of a sudden I'm starting thinking, I don't remember him by sight, but oh yeah, that person was slow. And I was young, I'm thinking, don't get near them because you might catch that, right? And so we became acutely aware of the challenges of autism and other similar disorders in April when we started talking about, there was the National Autism Awareness Month. And so we had a lot of people here and they didn't know what the conversation was going to be about. So I said, we brought in somebody from CARD, which is the Center for Autism and Similar Disorders. We had a speaker from there. And we brought in Rabbi Yossi Harling from Friendship Circle. We brought in the Miracle League. And then some guy walks in the door because he knew we were having a Chamber of Commerce meeting, Autism Dad. He wears a cap because he has an 8-year-old non-communicative daughter. So now it's a show here.
That's awesome.
And it is significant how many people are autistic or similar disorders. It is a huge number. I frequently have this conversation. It's about 1 out of 20 just randomly tell me, my daughter, my son.
Yeah.
There's a young lady who runs one of the autism organizations. She had twins, 17 and a half months old, big job. She had her husband, big job, big house. In 2.5 weeks, the kids reverted, barely talk now.
Oh, wow.
So we never know where that is, right?
Yeah.
So ideally, in that classroom, what's good, I'm sure their teachers are learning, what kids are demonstrating some need for help. And so how can the teachers figure that out?
Well, listen, our ESC teachers are angels on earth. They do so much work and they get significant training from the department. So, and teachers are trained and it's always better when a student can get identified earlier because then they can begin to receive the additional supports that they need. And so we even have, we partner with fiddlers and pre-K ESC to even evaluate students before they enter kindergarten so that we can really be servicing them in the best way possible. But our teachers every single day in their classrooms are observing their students, watching their work, watching how they interact with peers, watching how they interact with the teacher, and they are able to sort of have a conversation with the parents so that the students can be evaluated and then get. I really like to frame this for people. Because a lot of parents, rightfully so, are very apprehensive when they get told, oh, we want to evaluate your child. And it's really important that they understand that evaluation is coming from a place of let's truly understand how to best support your student specifically. And once, a student is identified and they get either, an IEP or a 504 accommodation plan, they are going to begin to truly be serviced in the way that's going to help them flourish. And we see stories every day of students who maybe were nonverbal and begin to acquire language skills, and many other stories of success.
So is there something that the school board can do to help local businesses understand that there's a whole spectrum of us in life? We have like the Albert Einsteins, and they got everybody else. And I'm sure that the Albert Einstein group is saying, oh, yeah, they are on the spectrum. Well,
No.
we're all on the spectrum, all right?
We're all on a spectrum,
Yes.
that's for sure.
And so one of the things that we recognized when somebody came to us and said, listen, would you, my son is on the spectrum, and he's in this arena. Would you give him an internship? And he went to college and graduated. And I felt a lot of pressure because my only recollection was somebody that was severely autistic. And I said, he's not going to start screaming, is he?
Oh.
And he goes, no. And I said, okay, you're helping people. We're gonna help him out. I said, internship, 3 days, 4 hours a day. At the end of the first day, we offered him a job. He's been here 3 years.
Amazing.
And we have seen, and he's public with this information. He wrote on LinkedIn, and I feel very good about having this conversation. Just because we don't smile doesn't mean we're not happy.
Right.
Just because we don't laugh doesn't mean we don't think it's funny. We just process information differently.
Exactly.
And when you look at the opportunity that we can offer to people, and wherever it is, just give some young man or young woman a chance, because it may be their only one in a while, and it can make a huge, huge difference.
Absolutely.
He changed our operation here.
Oh, I'm sure he's contributed so much.
Changed it. And one day we had a group of people, and I asked him to come up because I see he was just like him. Not only did he come up, as he got closer to the center, I moved off. So there he was holding court. And it was such a wonderful feeling that he feels comfortable enough now. And it's when they can get into a loving environment that they can be more of what they can be.
And they're amazing organizations. You mentioned some of them. There's Stars Miami, and of course, every single school, Best Buddies, partners with us. So, and you hit the nail on the head. It is about getting into a supportive environment where you know that you're going to receive the love and that people believe in you and they see the potential inside of every child, regardless of where they are on the spectrum. That's what our schools should be for every child.
And speaking believing, can you get on the screen, Emily?
Hello, Emily.
Let's see where there she is. That's Emily.
Putting the
there. She's
spotlight.
producing the show today. Recent graduate from FIU. Congratulations. All right.
She's awesome.
Is the microphone working today?
I don't have a mic here. No.
Well, we can hear you. So that's Emily, folks. She has a show. That's what day? When is that? Your show?
It's every week on a Wednesday or Thursday around 3:30.
Okay. And what's the name of your show?
Everything with Emily.
Wonderful. So tune in, and so she's our rising star at community newspapers. Thank you, Emily.
Everything with Emily, and from a family of educators in District 9.
District 9. How about that? All right.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. We're so happy that she is here, and every once in a while a star comes on. She's the star.
You got it. Yes. We love it.
All right. So let's talk about the vision down the road 5 years from now and 7 years down the road. What's the school system look like here?
Well, we're working on a lot of different things. For me, it's, from baby to career. And we are covering all of it. So in early childhood, I'm focusing a lot of my efforts here. In 5 years, it is my dream, my hope, what I work toward, that every single child will come into kindergarten ready. Right now, that rate for our entire county is about 49% of students come into kindergarten ready. But students who complete VPK, they get that high quality early learning, come in 62% ready, a whole 13 points ahead. It needs to be 100%.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to get to in 5 years. That's my plan. But that is what really sets off a trajectory of a student having the foundational skills they need and being ready to thrive in their learning journey, or starting to struggle early on. And it gets harder sort of every year that passes. Never impossible, but just a little harder every year. So early learning expanded throughout our county in 5 years, where every child has access and that it's affordable for families. Because you've heard how many families talk about childcare
Yes.
cost. That's early learning. In K-12, proficiency is everything. Making sure students can read on grade level, making sure that they are performing well in their math skills. And we're doing a lot to make sure that every student sees themselves as a math person. How many times have you heard, oh, I'm not a math person? We're changing that. There's no such thing as not being a math person. There's only you didn't get the right skill sets in the beginning. And so really my vision, for 5 years down the road is that every student in our K-12 programs has a deep love of learning, that they're not just going to school, checking the box, taking the test, that they really realize why learning is important, that it is for your development and your understanding of the world way beyond whatever grade you get this week or at the end of this year. Of course, graduation rates, let's hope we're at 100% in 5 years. And then we continue to grow our technical colleges for once students graduate, so that every student, whether they go to a very competitive university or they are starting on a technical career, they know what their path is. I don't ever want to hear at a graduation that a student says, I'm not sure. It is our job to make sure that students get the chance to explore in that K-12 space, so that when they leave us, they've got an idea. Maybe they'll change their mind. I certainly did, and maybe you did too, but they've got an idea of where they're headed. And then, as a county, we got to make sure we keep prioritizing education. We've got so much business coming in. And one of the biggest challenges that they're going to face, that they're facing, is if they're trying to hire a workforce. The more we invest in education, the more the businesses will thrive too. And it's a cycle. And so the more education people get, the safer our community is. The more education people get, the stronger our economy is. And so we just can't lose focus of how important education is to all the other things we care about in our community.
And you talk about things that are important. I'm sure there's some people who have helped you along your way over the years, all right? You got some in mind? I'd like you to talk right into that camera.
Oh my gosh, there are so many.
There you go.
So many. Listen, I think I've shared when I was an 8-year-old, I was actually undocumented in our schools, and there were so many teachers who poured into me. My 4th grade teacher, Miss Oliveira, who happens to be a principal now, and I run into her every now and then. She's not in my district, but she made me believe in a future for myself that was so far beyond my circumstances, and I've been able to accomplish so much of what she introduced into my mind as dreams that were possible for me. And then in high school, Miss Granberry, Miss Ceballos, Miss Perez, there's I can't keep naming them. So many who invested in me, Miss Martinez, and honestly addressed so much of the stuff I was dealing with outside of my academics. Yes, I had great academics, but they were supporting me on everything else. And then, recently, Mr. Greg Zoyer passed away. I mean, not so recently, but he was a giant in our school district. And he poured into me when I said, I want to step into leadership for our schools. And he, again, had really no reason to believe in me, but he did. And he was there every step of the way. And may he rest in peace. And we're grateful for everything he did to shape Miami-Dade County public schools.
You seem fulfilled.
Yes.
Yes. Congratulations.
There's nothing better than doing what you love, right?
Amen. School board member Luisa Santos, thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael.
And we're going to look right in this camera over here.
Yes.
Folks, thank you very much for joining us. And there's a rule, it's called the Disney rule. The Disney rule is when you hug somebody, don't stop until